Monday, March 2, 1998 was the biggest in Monday Night Wars history at that time. Both companies presented loaded shows hyped for weeks. In WCW, the hottest story in the industry continued with Randy Savage and Sting going against the nWo. Raw had its biggest show in history with the big hype of the return of Mike Tyson, with planned confrontations with Michaels and Austin, along with the return of Undertaker. Looking at every quarter rating of the shows head-to-head, who made the biggest difference, and how both companies countered each other. WCW had its first hour unopposed, building the show on Savage and Hogan with the nWo. The first hour opened with all of the major players out. WCW had Savage responding to Hogan, then Sting coming and talking for the first time in over a year, setting up the big main event tag match. WWF had DX segment with Austin, with Kane coming up building the two biggest segments of the show with Tyson, and the first ever Austin vs. Kane match. The rest of the first hour featured mostly mid-card angles, or setting up anticipation for the main events. Raw had a Owen vs. Henry match, WCW had DDP promo and brawl with Benoit and Raven. WCW also promoted Bret Hart's first TV match since signing with the company in November 1997.
Time. Great scouting by Brandy. Oh, face first. Sable. Oh! Dragging Luna by the hair. Sable. European champion ever. JR. Oh! What a
WWF got very close in the first hour. It was clear that viewers were waiting for Tyson, as Jim Ross reminded them throughout that he's going to be there any second, along with showing him arriving at the arena. WCW remained steady with one big jump for Ric Flair's segment with Curt Hennig. That came at the wrong time for WWF as they countered Flair, who was still one of the biggest draws in the business, with the almost ratings-killing Jim Cornette NWA. WCW didn't really counter the start of the first hour, showing the Mean Gene in a college video, along with a Steiner vs. Duggan match. Probably in anticipation that Vince is gonna save Tyson until the last segment. WWF featured one of the greatest segments in show history with a Shawn Michaels vs. Mike Tyson confrontation, eventually ending with a swerve of Tyson joining DX in the lead-up to WrestleMania 14. That segment was enough to only equal WCW, as both shows drew a 4.5 rating. The combined 9.0 rating for both shows during this segment was the biggest in Monday Night Wars history to date. The two biggest segments of WCW were saved to the last two quarters, with WWF countering with an advertised Austin vs. Kane match that ended up not happening. A few weeks after Scott joined the nWo, he promised that his brother Rick is gonna join him, building the segment of him then refusing to join and attacking the nWo, eventually getting the help of the Giant, in one of the biggest moments of the night, finally getting revenge on Nash and powerbombing him. Continuing the story of their program that was built on who was the best big man in the business and turned personal after Nash injured Giant with a powerbomb. That segment, which also featured Bret Hart's first TV match in months, obliterated the promoted Austin vs. Kane match with the biggest margin of the night. WCW then remained at record-level viewership for the Dream Tag match, built as nWo and WCW joined forces with Savage and Sting together against Hollywood Hogan and Scott Hall. WWF got an increase for Taker's return, agreeing for the match at WrestleMania 14. Overall, WCW beat WWF with a 4.8 overall rating to a 3.8. WWF were gaining momentum fast, but WCW was still the hottest program in the industry.